Hi everyone, this is Jasper Kibon. Welcome to my video explaining all about design patterns. So in this video, I'll be walking through all parts of the design patterns using simple explanations, real-world examples, the diagrams, and clear reasoning so that the concepts are easy to understand. So let's begin. First, what is a design pattern? So a design pattern is a reusable, proven solution to a common problem in software design. It is not an actual code, but more like a template, a blueprint, or standardized ways of solving recurring issues. So the purpose of design patterns is to make software development more efficient, more consistent, and easier to maintain. Instead of solving every design problem from scratch, developers use patterns because they have already been tested, analyzed, and used in many systems over time. So why do developers reuse patterns? Of course, firstly, patterns save time. If the problem is common, problems like object creation, communication between objects, or managing structure, there's no need to reinvent the wheel. So second is patterns reduce bugs because they are already known to work. And then third, patterns create a shared vocabulary, meaning when a developer says use a singleton or apply observer, the other developers immediately understand what structure is needed. And lastly, patterns make the system easier to extend or modify in the future. So overall, design patterns improve clarity, reduce complexity, and make development more predictable. The difference between the three main categories of design patterns. The first is the creational patterns. Creational patterns, it is how objects are created. These patterns focus on the process of object creation. Instead of using direct constructors everywhere, creational patterns provide controlled, flexible, and sometimes dynamic ways to create objects. So think of a house construction company. You don't just randomly build a house. You follow a blueprint process and sometimes different methods depending on the type of house. Like a bungalow, a two-story, a story building, or a modern style. Creational patterns ensure that creation process is well designed and adaptable. Second is the structural patterns. So it is how objects are organized and connected. These patterns deal with how classes and objects are combined to form larger, well-structured system. They help ensure that the architecture is clean and components fit well together. Example is Lego blocks with connectors. So even if the blocks are different in shapes or colors or structural patterns, make sure that they connect smoothly to form a complete structure. The next is the behavioral patterns. So behavioral patterns, it is how objects communicate or behave. These patterns focus on communication, responsibilities, and algorithms. So they define how objects interact, share messages, and decide actions. Imagine of a classroom setup. Then the teacher gives instructions. Students react differently, and everyone plays a specific role. It is about behavior and interaction, not creation or structure. So creational patterns in action. So the chosen pattern is the builder pattern. Now, the the problem of a builder pattern solves is example, some objects are extremely complicated to build. They may have many configurations, optional features, or require step-by-step assembly. So in creating these objects with constructors, it leads to long parameter lists, confusing overloaded constructors, and hard to read code. So to sum up, the builder pattern um, solves this by allowing you to build objects step by step, ensuring the final product is consistent, readable, and customizable. So this is the visual representation of the builder pattern. First, we have the director. The director controls the sequence of building steps, and it also ensures that the object is built in the correct order. Second is the builder or the interface. So it defines the outline of the building process. It also declares the steps needed to build the product but doesn't implement them. Then third is the concrete builder. The concrete builder provides the actual implementation of each building step. It also knows how to assemble every part of the final object. Then the last one is the product. Um, the product assembled result of building steps. So it it returned to the client as the completed object. So the function of the product is the fully assembled result of all building steps. So this separation makes construction clean and flexible. So a great example is building a custom PC. So when you are going to build a custom PC, so you don't just buy a computer. Of course, you choose its processor, its GPU, its RAM, its storage, its case design, and optional the RGB lights. So each step is separate but combined into one final product. So in short, the builder pattern is perfect whenever objects have complex initialization with optional parts. Um, Benefits and drawbacks of singleton. So the singleton ensures that a class has exactly one instance throughout the program. This is useful in situations where multiple instances would cause problems or wasted resources. For example, only one database connection manager, only one logging system, only one setting configuration. So it creates a reliable shared access point. However, a singleton can be misused. It can make your code tightly coupled, meaning many parts of your program depend on that single instance. This reduces flexibility. Now, it can also make unit testing harder because singleton behaves like a global variable, which is often considered as a bad practice in large systems. So, while singleton is powerful, it must be used wisely. Structural pattern in concept. So example of the adapter pattern in uh, messy system. Imagine a system where you have old video player class that your entire system uses. But now you need to integrate a um, new video player, and unfortunately the other methods don't match. So the system becomes messy because the old and new classes are incompatible. Now, the adapter pattern as a, acts as a translator, so they can work together. Also, we have an example here, um, the diagram showing the client with an old video player and the client with a new video player which is not compatible. Now, the client cannot use the new class. It's like trying to plug a US device into a European outlet. Now, after um, the diagram showing the after we use adapter the adapter pattern. Now, as we can see here, the adapter converts the new class interfere into one the client understand. Now, this removes um, incompatibility. This removes compatibility issues without rewriting old code. Now, the adapter versus the decorator. First is the adapter pattern. The adapter pattern, also known as the translator code. So its goal is to make two incompatible interfaces work together. Think of a story like if you have a friend from Japan who only speaks Japanese, um, you have another friend from the Philippines who only speaks Bisaya. So they want to talk, but their languages don't match. So you introduce a translator who understands both languages. Now the translator doesn't change either friend. He just convert what one says into a format that the other understands. So its function in a software, the adapter sits between two classes that cannot work together and converts calls from one to another. It also allowing when it it was converted, so it allows smooth cooperation because they understand each other when using the adapter pattern. Now, when to use the adapter pattern? We use the adapter pattern when adding a new module to an old system. We use um, we use it when third-party code doesn't match your existing interface, and we use it when you can or must not change the original classes. So key idea: the adapter pattern change interface, not behavior. It make mismatching things compatible and no additional features, just conversion. Now, the decorator pattern, also known as like the decorator pattern, we will use the pizza upgrade story. So its goal is to add extra functionalities to objects without modifying their original class. So imagine when you order a plain cheese pizza, but you can't, but you want to enhance it. So you add pepperoni, mushrooms, extra cheese, and olives. So each topping is a decoration. So the pizza is still the same pizza at its core, but now it has new abilities, more flavor, more toppings, and more value. Now its function in software, a decorator wraps an objects and add new behavior or responsibilities dynamically. So when to use the decorator? Now the decorator is useful when you need to add optional features, when you want flexibility, example, to add or remove behavior anytime, and also when subclassing becomes too messy. Now key ideas of the decorator pattern: it changes behavior, not interfere, and not interface. It adds features layer by layer. Um, Object stays the same inside but becomes more capable. Now, the main difference of the adapter changes the interface, makes something look like what another class expects. It solves mismatch problems. Example, a phone charger with a wrong plug. So it uses an adapter. to connect, right? So the decorator, while the adapter changes the interface, the decorator changes the behavior. Now, the decorator, it adds new features on top of the original object. It solves extension problems. For example, a basic pizza with upgraded with toppings. So that's the difference between the adapter and the decorator pattern. Example of a scenario requiring the observer pattern. Imagine when you're building a delivery tracking application. When when the package status changes from packed to shipped to out for delivery, multiple observers need to know on the user, the courier dashboard, and the seller. So if the delivery system directly calls each server, the system becomes tightly coupled and hard to expand. Now, the observer pattern solves this by allowing objects to subscribe to changes. When something changes, the subject automatically notifies all observers without knowing their details. This keeps the system flexible and loosely coupled. So the chosen behavioral pattern, we choose the strategy pattern. Now the strategy pattern allows you to switch algorithms at runtime without changing the code that uses them. This drastically improves flexibility because instead of writing giant if-else statement like choosing payment types or sorting methods, each behavior is placed in its own class. For example, payment system with strategies, the PayPal payment, the credit card payment, GCash payment, and the COD payment. All payments follow the same interface, so switching payment methods becomes simple, clean, and maintainable. So to sum up, the strategy pattern improves readability and makes the system easy to expand in the future. Now, two patterns for an online delivery system. Um, First is the factory method. Why? Because different delivery types require different behavior. Standard, same day, express, or international. Factory method helps create the right delivery object without changing the main system code. This makes the system more scalable for future delivery types. Next is the observer pattern. Why? Because customer need real-time notifications. Whenever the delivery status updates, all observers, mobile app, um, website dashboard, email service must not be informed instantly. Observers automates this beautifully, avoiding manual updates and tight coupling. So, evaluating the claim using many design patterns always makes software better. Personally, I disagree with this statement because design patterns are tools, not requirements. Using too many patterns can cause first unnecessary complexity. This happens when you use a pattern even if the problem doesn't need it. Instead of making the code easier, it actually becomes harder to follow. Example, I'm using the builder pattern just to create an object with two fields like name and age makes the code longer and overly structured. A simple constructor would have been enough. So why isn't it good? You're adding steps, classes, and abstractions for no real benefit. Next is over-engineering. This is when you design a system with more layer, patterns, or abstractions than what the project realistically requires. Example, creating the interfaces, factories, and adapters for a project that only needs basic class-to-class interaction. So why it's bad? You are trying to solve problems that don't exist yet, which wastes time and makes the project harder to finish. Next is why we um, why I disagree with this statement, because also it it add confusion, or it leads confusion for other developers. So when a design pattern is used incorrectly or unnecessarily, other developers who read other developers who read your code um, may struggle to understand what's actually happening. So, example, someone opens your um, file, or if someone opens your file and sees account factory, account manager, account builder, account adapter, even though all you needed was a simple account class. So why it's bad? It increases the learning curve, slows collaboration, and risk errors because people might misinterpret the structure. Also, slower development, more patterns, more files. I mean, like if you have more patterns, it is equivalent to more files, more steps, more time to spend coding and debugging. Example: instead of directly creating an object, you now have to write interfaces, concrete implementations, and a director class. That's days of work instead of hours. Also, why it's bad, it delays progress and can push deadlines, especially in student projects or small systems. Now, lastly, why I disagree with that statement, because for harder maintenance. So, the more complicated the structure, the harder it is to fix bugs and add new features later. For example, if your system uses multiple unnecessary patterns, then changing one small behavior means updating multiple files spread across the project. And why it's also bad? A tiny an update becomes a big task, making long term. I mean, like, well, when you have a tiny update becomes a big task, it makes your short term a long term maintenance, so it is stressful and costly. Then patterns are meant to solve actual problems, not to make the code look fancy. So the correct approach is use design patterns only when they simplify, improve, or clarify the design. If the pattern doesn't solve a real problem, it becomes a burden instead of a solution. So I hope this breakdown helped clarify how creational, structural, and behavior patterns work in real world software design. So if you learned something, feel free to like and subscribe for more content. This is Jasper, and thank you for watching this video.